I'm psychologist Dominic Herbst, and I want you to consider the question, what if I were sexually abused as a child? Now, that could be at almost any age. It could be what we call the pre-adolescent years, which are under 10 years of age. It could even be as an infant. Did you know that there are people that have been awakened sexually, even though their mind or their memory was not capable of remembering it? And you might say, well, if you can't remember it, how could it affect me? Well, the truth is, if something was done to awaken you in a form of stimulation at a time when you were even a little baby, the fact is that there are appetites or situations that would begin to occur where you might have been fixated on the sexual activity of some sort, where you're thinking about it at a level that is not really typical of other people. It's not your fault, nor was it my fault when I was sexually abused at 6 years old. However, when that door is opened up, very, very difficult for it to be closed without going to counseling or going through healing. And the very first thing we have to do is to be truthful about the fact that it happened to us. Even if we're not sure, it doesn't hurt to say, I feel like something could have happened and I want to explore that. You may say, well, why even speak about it? Because any pain that is inside us that is under concealment creates problems of depression. It creates problems of anger and rage at a level that we oftentimes cannot contain. It creates confusion. It distorts our thinking on what sex is about. Therefore, violations sexually as a child in the pre-adolescent years or even the teen years can cause us to look at sexual activity as something that is horrible and ugly, which will naturally affect us in later years in our relationship with our spouse. It can cause us to look at the other person as a person that would give me pleasure sexually, rather than to look at them at the heart level and really want to have a connection with them and a soul knittedness, you know, kind of like a soulmate. It will distort and create a sense of selfishness in a person if they're not healed from it. And you and I wouldn't normally know why that is in us unless there may have been a violation by someone else. And if we recognize that that may have happened, and we see the evidence of it in the way we're feeling today, like the depression, like the feeling of, again, losing control, even fear. I know later in life, even into my 30s, I had panic attacks. This is where you freeze up in fear and you don't know why you're feeling so afraid. And there would be times I'd go into this deep brood of depression, and my wife and kids would wonder what was wrong with me. Why is he feeling, why is Daddy feeling that way? Or there were situations where little triggering events would cause me to get so angry I'd yell and scream like a little boy in a big man's body. And what was happening was the pain in me that wasn't healed from that violation. You see, because I was used as an object of a man's pleasure when I was 6 years old, that I was feeling all of the resentments and all of the confusion, all balled up in one. And it also creates fixations on sex in a way that it looks dirty at times, and it looks like something that is there strictly for single pleasure when you're with someone else. And it can create problems in relationships all through our lives unless we're willing to have the courage to be bold and say, you know, this happened to me, I'm going to seek counsel. I'm going to trust that if I face this and walk through it, that I'm going to own this pain instead of this pain owning me. I'm going to lose the power that the rage used to have over me, and I'm going to have an even temperament. I'm going to be lifted out of that depression that made me feel like I was dirty and shameful, even though it wasn't my fault. It felt like it was. And I promise you, by my own testimony of my life, that you can have freedom from what may have been done to you. So I challenge you Be truthful, be open with a counselor that you trust, and walk through it and find that place of restoration and healing.